Just outside Kansas City is a town called Gardner, Kansas. They have a general aviation airport and every year host an event featuring World War I type aircraft and militaria. It has proven to be quite a draw. For about a year prior to this show, I had been corresponding with Larry Smith of Valley Engineering in Missouri. Over the years, Larry's dad, Gene Smith, has designed and flown a number of small airplanes. Through their business, Valley Engineering, they market light airplanes, engine reduction drives, and the Culver line of wooden propellers. They also market a Firewall forward power system for light aircraft that incorporates a modified Generac engine, their reduction drive, and their large Culver props. My interest in this father-son team is Gene's newest creation, which combines all of the aforementioned products into a flying machine, an ultralight called the Backyard Flyer. Given the 254-pound FAR 103 weight limit, we ultralight flyers are limited as to our engine choices. Most four-stroke motors of the 40 to 50 horsepower needed for light flight are too heavy and would not leave enough allowance for sufficiently strong structure. Because of this, ever since I've been flying ultralights, we have been limited to using two-stroke motors because of their superior power-to-weight ratios. But while they are powerful for their size, they are also somewhat cantankerous. They have to run at high RPMs to generate the power required, and this causes them to run fairly hot. Also, for their horsepower output, they burn an inordinate amount of fuel compared to four-strokes, thus limiting the airtime one can achieve with the 5 gallons of gas we are allowed. They require consistent and constant attention and care. My experience has been that flying with two strokes requires one to balance art and science to keep them running well. Because of this, I was greatly intrigued by the announcement that Gene Smith had designed a legal ultralight, Backyard Flyer, with a four-stroke motor. In addition, the engine has an electric starter, the craft has full 3-axis controls, differential braking, and a number of other innovations I will let him tell you about. Anyway, we all finally got together at the Gardner Air Show so I could learn more about the Backyard Flyer, see it fly, and show it to you. At times during my interview with Gene, our field was strafed by biplanes threading their way through withering anti-aircraft fire. Sporadically, aerial combat would break out also, so occasionally you will hear the sounds of genteel warfare in the background while Gene tells us about the Backyard Flyer.
Oh, it's a Backyard Flyer ultralight, I guess, the Backyard UL. I went through the University of Missouri at Rolla. Yeah, actually it was the Missouri School of Mines when I started, and University of Missouri at Rolla when I graduated. I do have a degree in mechanical engineering. I crop dusted for 21 years and been an A&P, I don't know how many years, quite a few years, been an A&P. I guess that's mainly the qualifications for, I know how they ought to fly. I know how they got to fly if you want to survive crop dusting. The primary thing is to build an actual legal Part 103 ultralight with four-stroke power and electric starting. Those are the main things we wanted. We wanted an electric starting four-stroke with an adequate horsepower to do a good job of flying. The engine, of course, has the reduction drive on it. That allows us to run a 72-inch diameter prop, and that allows us to get a lot of thrust out of our limited 40 horsepower. It is electric starting, also has a charging system. It's got a 24 amp alternator built into the flywheel. There's some people who love the two strokes and get along with them very well. A lot of people say it's not when they will quit. I mean, it's not if they'll quit, it's when they'll quit. And I don't know, I never flew them that much to really have any trouble with a two-stroke, but for one thing, the four-stroke's far more efficient. This one will fly on just over a gallon an hour. I mean, you can cruise around all day at a gallon an hour. A normal cruise would be about a gallon and a quart, about five quarts an hour. As far as why we chose this engine, it's American made in Wisconsin. Although we modify it quite a lot. We put the Weber carburation on it because Weber carburetors are designed for totally tunable. They have many selections of jets, the air bleeds, the emulsion tubes. Everything is adjustable, and we can tune those engines. These engines can be tuned for the aircraft use. We also have this automatic carburetor heat, and that's very important also. I think that everybody ought to have that automatic carburetor heat. On the engine, we do have our own belt reduction drive. The purpose, of course, is to allow you to run a much larger diameter propeller, which gives you far more efficiency. This is our Series 3, and it has the feature. The main feature is it has a built-in overrunning clutch action. It's not an overrunning clutch, but it's a belt with a slack side idler, and the slack side idler is being spring-loaded so that the propeller cannot power the engine. The engine can power the prop, but the propeller can't power the engine. And this, in effect, then cancels 1/2 of your resonance. And if the engine and prop try to resonate, the slack side idler releases one half of that cycle, and you can't have resonance without both phases. The bottom line is that stops the breaking of the belts and the breaking of crankshafts. We bought out Culver props a few years ago, and we of course build our own props. And it's a big advantage being able to experiment with a lot of different diameters and pitches. And of course, where we build a reduction drives with many different ratios. So there's a lot of different combinations you can put together with different ratios, different propeller speeds, different propeller diameters. And we've learned a lot. We won't tell you all of our secrets, but we've learned pretty well how to get the performance out of these low horsepower power plants. Of course, aluminum, because it's light, but aluminum also has a lot of springiness. It has more flexibility than steel. So because of that, I use the large diameters, as large a diameter as I can. And then you have to use the wall thickness. We have to keep it fairly thin because of the weight limitation. We've got to stay within our 254. Aluminum can be welded very, very well. It's harder, sure. It's not easy, but we designed the structure so that none of the welds are in critical tension. We'll try to put the welds non-critical, either in compression or in shear, but as much as possible, try not to put any critical weld in tension. And that's just the way I design them. And then we weld them, of course, to eliminate all of the disconnects. I just don't like all of the cables and pins and disconnects that have potential problem to either forget one or lose one or something like that. We try to eliminate all of those that we can. Of course, it's designed for very high lift. It's very lightweight. It has internally, it has a triangle truss for strength. It's tapered both in chord and in thickness. That is all for the benefit of getting it light, developing enough lift and keeping it light enough that and strong. This is designed to withstand 6 Gs. And then the main feature of it, I guess, the unique feature is that this wing swings. We have 4 attach points here, the little hand wheels. Spin these little hand wheels out, and the wing rotates 90 degrees into position. And the tie-down point over here on the left wing attaches to the T-bar on top of the tail. And at that point, the airplane is 7 feet wide and 25 feet long, or whatever the wingspan is. This one's 27, but 25 to 27 foot. And all you have to have is a long box trailer. It takes about 2 minutes to transfer it from one to the other. We can be in the trailer in a couple of minutes or back out and ready to fly in a couple of minutes. For flight, the wing is attached to the airframe in 4 points. These 2 points here are the rear spar. The rear spar is attached here, and the main spar has 2 attach points here, only one of which is used during transport, which it's in transport position now. Only one of them is used. But when it's swinging back around for flight, and both of these will be used along with these rear ones. So it has 4 points that suspend it during flight, and only the one here, and 2 at the tail post for transport. That's why we built it this way, so that the one-piece wing can stay intact, no disconnects, no cables, no pins, no braces. It's all fully cantilevered, folded like that or rotated like this. It's ready to go in a standard box trailer. And of course, you see there are no struts, no braces, no wires. The wing is entirely cantilevered and all one piece, all welded. Well, I chose the Junker style, or the displaced aileron from the wing, for one primary cause, and that is that in a full stall, the ailerons are still fully effective because they're down here below the wing in the air that is not stalled. The stall, of course, only happens on the top of the wing, and even though you might be in a full stall, we have full roll control. You can pull this back all the way back, full stall, and then rock the wings as it's falling through the stall. You still have full roll control. If those Junker style ailerons are any additional drag, and I'm not sure they are, they might be a little additional drag, but that's okay. Most time we are more concerned with being able to meet the speed limit that we're held to on the Part 103, and so they might be a benefit in that respect. Tail draggers really need to have individual brakes, which we do have, but it looks like we only have one pedal here, just one set of pedals, but they're hooked to the brake and the rudder through a pulley on the rudder pedal. And when I step on it, it pulls both of them, but there's a very strong return spring on the brake. So I'll get tail wheel steering and rudder before I get brake action. But if I need brake action, push a little harder and I get brake action also. And that works, of course, in either direction. As far as straight ahead, if you're just light pedaling, you'll get steering. If you push hard, you get both brakes. It's just as simple as that. On the landing gear, it's pretty much old standard J3 type construction, with one exception. Instead of using a set of bungee cords or whatever for the shock absorption, for two reasons: for saving in weight and for simplicity, I just used a piece of curved tubing. And the piece of curved tubing can act as your bungee. We prefer to operate under the Part 103 because two things: the light sport is so expensive, and the regulations are far more than should have been necessary, it seems to me. But at any rate, we don't feel like, as a small operator, we can't afford to go with light sport. We'll have to stay with the Part 103. Yeah, of course, we'd all like to have a little more weight. It's hard to keep them light enough to meet that requirement. But yes, I'll be happy to keep it as it is. Very valuable, yes. If they should do away with Part 103, I think that would be really a terrible blow to the average man, to the people that can't afford these $100,000, even $50,000 light sports. A well-designed ultralight, I think, is just as safe, not as fast, but that's one of the good points. When you have a landing speed of 25 or 30 miles an hour, not a whole lot can go wrong with that. Not nearly as serious as it is at 50 or 60 miles an hour. Like this airplane here will take off and land at 25 miles an hour. And anything that would happen at those speeds is far less likely to give you injury than as 50 or 60 miles an hour takeoff and landing. Well, it flies about the easiest of any airplane I believe I've ever flown. It's just extremely easy on the landing. It's so forgiving. You can land a little fast or a little slower. It doesn't care. You can set it down. You can set it down at 35 or 30 or 25. It just floats forever. glides awfully good, and it's just such a pleasure to fly.